Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Meth.
I heard that you know some very exciting information. Can you share it with the class?
Sure. So it's getting to be that time of year for a very special occasion in Hey Adoraland. We are having our annual holiday live watch next month on Sunday, December 14th at 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, here in our fun Patreon land. If you are a patron at $5 plus, you can join us for our annual holiday live watch. And if you're a patron at $10 plus, you can join us afterwards for a fun live chat with the two of us.
It is a blast. And I would love to let the people know what exactly we watch on our annual live watch.
What do we watch?
Why, that's a great question, Jenny. Every year, we watch the original 1980s He-Man and She-Ra Christmas special featuring Gay Uncle Skeletor, Crappy Hordak, and a whole bunch of weird kind of Christian stuff made by an almost entirely Jewish crew.
And all kinds of hilarious stuff where they tell you that Christmas is for everyone and it's, it's about love and peace in your heart.
Mm-hmm.
And Uncle Skeletor's little heart grows 10 times that day. And it's just so campy and hilarious.
We love it. We love it.
We do. We do love it. And this year, for the first time ever, we're going to be showing a special mystery holiday pre-show of another show that we love, their holiday show, which is a little more modern, but also super fun and has exploding robots and is just a delight.
Ooh. Folks, I want to let you know that this has been a super duper secret that I don't even know what the episode is.
Yeah, you're going to get to see Meph's reactions live in real time of something they have not seen, so it's going to be a delight.
It's going to be an absolute delight. So, Jenny, tell us when that is again and when our listeners, our Patreon 5 and up, can join us.
Yes. So, again, you can join our Patreon even literally the day before, and you will have access to this. It is Sunday, December 14th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So we would love to have you join us. All the details of our Patreon can be found at our website, heyadora.gay, or at patreon.com/heyadora.
Thank you. And we hope to see you there.
Yes, ho, ho, ho.
Hey, folks, and welcome back to Hey Adora, your Queer She-Ra podcast. I, Force Captain Meph, they, them.
I'm Princess Jenny, she, her.
Jenny, we are in the final run of bangers. Hard bangers.
OMGs. I can't believe it. I texted you last week when I started to, I was like, I'm going to do my episode prep, and I turned on the TV and I was like, holy fuck, we only have 4 episodes left?
Yeah, so this sets up our movie. Our last 3 episode movie.
Yeah, I mean, this is really it. Holy fuck. Can you believe we've been doing this for 5 years?
I was thinking about that today. I was like, oh my God, we've been doing this for 5 years.
Yeah. We've both been on a real journey.
We've both been on a real journey. Speaking of real journeys, let's get into this journey home.
Yes.
Today's episode is Return to the Fright Zone. It is season 5, episode 10. It was written by M. Willis. Storyboards by Charlemagne Coe, Sasha Much, and Belinda Smith. This is directed by Mandy Clotworthy. And as we were saying at the top of the episode, hard banger.
Meph, when was the last time we've been back to the Fright Zone?
So we were actually back to the Fright Zone when we were actually back to the Fright Zone as the viewers when Catra destroyed it with Hordak.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But our favorite dumbasses have not been back to the Fright Zone since season 3, the alternate universe.
Wow.
So we're going back home.
Everybody's had a good long while to grow and change and experience the world since they've been back.
Yeah. We're going to get into that.
It's going to be crazy.
Yeah. But first, we're jumping right into this scene in media res, as we've learned.
Yes. We're in our rebel base.
We are in our rebel base, and we're immediately doing some planning here.
Yes. Adora helpfully summarizes the current action plan for all her pals and for us so that we are all on the same page. It is time to rescue our chipped pals.
And of course, Natasha's like, oh, don't worry, I got a plan. I know everybody's weakness.
Yes, she has been prepared for this longer than anybody. She looks like she's had way too many Red Bulls.
Oh my God, she's fantastic. I have a quick gayest moment here.
Yes, please.
Dumbass cocky Adora. Real obvious. And what are they exactly? Dumbass cocky gay Adora. Love it.
Yes, yes. She's acting the way you act at a party when you want to appear like you know what everyone's talking about when you actually have no idea what everyone's talking about.
Right. Or you're like, yeah, I've seen that movie.
Or like, yeah, of course, we've all read that book. We all know that famous quote. Yeah, of course. And why don't you just start us out and I'll jump in when I have an important point to add.
Absolutely.
So what is Spinny's weakness that we all know because it's so obvious?
Obviously, we all know she twisted her ankle as a kid, and if you keep her off balance, her injury will act up on her, which, Jenny, I have effed up both of my ankles within the past, 4 years, and then I do things that require balancing on one foot a lot. And let me tell you, that shit is no joke!
Yes, you're a big fan of the Kung Fu.
A sprained ankle takes so long to heal.
I know. You gotta be careful.
So yeah, I believe it.
I believe it as well. And then also we get the beginning of what will be a thread through this episode of adorable fan service Nate Stevenson doodles being passed off as the doodles of the characters. Because Natasha shows us her little illustration of her plan, which is how she will use Spinny's weak ankle as a strategy to unchip her and save her, and then remind her every time in the future she tells Natasha that it's her turn to do chores. Which is actually a little bit cruel, but it looks adorable in cartoon form.
Well, I was thinking about this and I was like, they are have been married for so long.
Yeah, their competitive wifeliness could be perceived as harsh. But for them, it's all foreplay.
They're so, right, exactly. They're super compatible. They both love it.
Yeah, they both love it.
They both love it. My favorite little bits here are the one where Natasha is holding Spinny in front of the big heart with an arrow. And then the last one, which is where Spinny is in a French maid outfit with Natasha reclining in the top corner with 3 little hearts above her head and the word cute with an arrow pointing to Spinny. That's the best one.
Yes, that is definitely the best one. Absolutely.
So Bo rightfully calls out that this is definitely a not at all weird and very detailed theory.
Yes. And Glimmer thinks that this is all well and good, but the rest of them won't be as easy to figure out as a twisted ankle.
Sure. And of course, Natasha's like, well, duh, because I know everyone's weakness here.
Yes. And Natasha, again, too many Red Bulls. She has this manic gleam in her eye. She's like, oh, you don't think so? Let me illustrate this for you in this 25-point plan that I have had locked and loaded, for months while you guys have all been fucking around in space, fucking around over here, fucking around over there. I have had this action plan ready to go. And she just whips it out.
She whips it out. And dark moment of the soul here. Let's all be honest. Do you ever think about the weaknesses of your friends and what you would have to do to take them down if they ever go evil? Because I don't. Nope.
I have not thought about that.
Nope. I haven't either, Jenny.
I feel like you have, but I genuinely have not. I'm not the best person necessarily to have at your side during apocalypse in a purely practical way. I might keep your hopes up, though. I'd be like Frederick. You know the Leo Leone book, Frederick? He's the mouse who was, not good at getting prepared for the winter in a practical way, and all the other mice were like, dude, you're not pulling your weight. Although I would try. But then when they were all, super glum and all the food was gone, and they're like, oh, we're all depressed, he busted out the poetry and made them all feel better. I feel like that would be my way of helping. I'd keep everyone's spirits up. That's the importance of art under fascism and scary times and depression, is it keeps you going. It's not expendable. That's what we're doing here. That's what the show is about. It helps you rally. It gives you hope.
And art is part of that. But there is also something to be said about planning. And Natasha has shown that she's definitely been planning and knows everybody's weakness. For example, Entrapta. Tech.
Yes, just throw a piece of tech across the room and she's gone.
Sure. Mermista. Fire.
Makes sense. Although I have to say that if you have water, you should be able to overcome fire pretty easily. She would have to be in a situation like in the desert where there is no water for that to be effective.
Same with Frosta. Also fire, and I kind of agree that's a weird one. Adora cannot act to save her life. Also, extreme hair envy.
With She-Ra, specifically, with her own alter ego. And it's clearly true because as soon as Natasha says it, you see Adora like self-consciously patting her little hair poof. We all know that's true.
Glimmer, crippling self-doubt mixed with overwhelming hubris.
Yes. And those two things, when you put them together, that is like the essence of shadow material. The hubris compensates for the crippling self-doubt. So those two things go together.
Absolutely.
But of course, and you know she's touched a nerve because Glimmer doesn't take it very well. She's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's like really personal compared to fire.
I mean, it's not inaccurate.
She is correct.
Okay.
But Glimmer has made a lot of strides on that one. I feel like she's a lot more self-aware than she was, a season ago, 2 seasons ago.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because she definitely said, whoa, whoa, whoa. That's like really personal instead of being like, no, it's not.
Yeah, she didn't just flat out deny it. I think she knows it's true.
She does. And then we have Perfuma asking, oh, do me next.
Yeah, she's excited to be read by Natasha.
Sure. And before we go on to both of them, Natasha says fire. And I just want to bring up, before we go on to the other one that plays a very important role in this episode, isn't everyone's weakness fire?
Yeah, I mean, who is not susceptible to fire? I feel like Mermista and Frosta, out of everyone, should be the least susceptible to fire because they have a way to put it out.
Anyway, the important one here that Natasha brings up for Perfuma is an inability to unleash your full power due to your overwhelming fear of hurting the people you care about. And I can relate to that.
Me too. And Perfuma thinks that could be considered a positive quality. But Natasha tells her it's not.
She just blows it off and it's like, it's not. And it's like, all right, let's put a pin in that one.
Yeah, we're going to come back to that throughout the episode.
And Bo's weakness is, of course, his bow.
Yes, his dependency on tech and props.
Also fire.
Yeah, she cuts his bowstring and he completely fucking loses it.
But then she gives him like a magic net bowstring, which I think is probably stronger.
Yeah, like she was just trying to make a point. She wasn't really trying to destroy his shit.
Yeah.
And she points out the importance of contingency plans, which again is a good point.
Yes. And she always wins. It's how you win, and it's how she always wins.
Yes. So far, she is pretty much rocking this demo.
She is definitely rocking this demo.
But one person remains unimpressed, leaning gaily in the corner.
It's Catra. Yeah. Do you have this as a gayest moment? Of course. Do you want to tell us about it?
So Catra is leaning gaily in the corner, completely unimpressed. And she expresses her confidence that while princesses may be easy to take down, which is an opinion that she has always held, you don't have anything on real threats like me. And also, I have to share something adorable with you. I'm sure you're going to think this is adorable. For a long time, because I don't like closed captions unless I really, really need them because I find them distracting to my eye. Like, even when I don't need them, my eye is always drawn to them. So, I usually don't need them. But I always thought that line is, for a long time, you don't have anything on real brats like me. Because that just made sense.
Totally.
But eventually I realized she was saying threats, not brats.
Right.
Either way, it works.
Either way, it works.
And so Natasha, doesn't need to say anything. She just squirts her with the bad kitty water bottle. And then when Catra immediately freaks out the way a cat does when you squirt them with a water bottle and she tries to jump away, she just nets her very easily. And it's very funny and very good. And my brain is, and that's the end of the scene. They go to the credits. And as soon as that happens, squirt, net, my brain goes live from New York. It's Saturday night.
It is very much a cold open. Yeah, it is. I just want to tag on one thing that if people that have cats, if you've ever seen them try to like interact with like mosquito netting or something, they also go bonkers in sheer fabric and often get trapped in it, which is kind of something, at least I've seen some cats do this. And that's also kind of something that I thought of here. Catra's weaknesses are cat weaknesses.
Yes. Kitty panic.
So, kitty panic, exactly. But Milog hiding under the tent when Catra gets wrapped up in the net is really cute, too.
Yes, because they are, they have an ET link.
They have an ET link. Yeah, exactly. That's a great way to put that. They have an ET link. So now we have credits. Jenny, question I ask all the time, and we'll be asking for 3 more episodes after this.
Let's do it.
Are we going to win in the end?
Well, my friend, I think that right now we are already in the process of winning in the end, because we have just had an amazing blue wave of elections across the country that has been a long time coming, and people have not been sure if it was ever going to come again, because we've been living through some real dark times. And now that it has happened, we've been having some conversations in our Discord and in our circles, and a lot of people are afraid to celebrate. They're not sure if they should be celebrating because they're not sure if it's going to be real, or they're not sure if they're allowed to celebrate when there's still so many bad things happening. And so because of this feeling, it's like when you've been kicked in the face so many times and then one good thing happens, you're afraid to celebrate, basically, is the vibe.
Yeah, I get that.
It's important to celebrate when you can, because if you wait until there's some sense of complete victory before you let yourself celebrate at all, then that day is never going to come. So I am going to share an excerpted version of Mamdani's victory speech from his awesome New York City mayoral victory, because it's real good vibes that we all need right now. Zohran Mamdani is the first South Asian mayor of New York City, the first African-born mayor of New York City, the first millennial mayor of New York City, but he is not the first Democratic Socialist mayor of New York City, and he is certainly not the first immigrant mayor of New York City. We've had over 24 of those. It's a great moment for a lot of people. So I'm going to share this. I'm going to try and breeze through it without the pauses for applause, so it won't take as long, but it's also just an excerpted version. If you want to hear the whole thing, I highly recommend it. You can Google it. You can read it in text. You can watch the videos, because he's a much better orator than I am. So this is a longer Are We Going to Win in the End than usual, but I think we're all going to feel that it's worth it to get these good vibes.
Let's hear it.
The sun may have set over our city this evening, but as Eugene Debs once said, I can see the dawn of a better day for humanity. For as long as we can remember, the working people of New York have been told by the wealthy and the well-connected that power does not belong in their hands. Fingers bruised from lifting boxes on the warehouse floor, palms calloused from delivery by candle bars, knuckles scarred with kitchen burns. These are not hands that have been allowed to hold power. And yet, over the last 12 months, you have dared to reach for something greater. Tonight, against all odds, we have grasped it. The future is in our hands. My friends, we have toppled a political dynasty. I wish Andrew Cuomo only the best in private life, but let tonight be the final time I utter his name as we turn the page on a politics that abandons the many and answers only to the few. New York, tonight you have delivered a mandate for change, a mandate for a new kind of politics, a mandate for a city we can afford, and a mandate for government that delivers exactly that. Thank you to those so often forgotten by the politics of our city who made this movement their own. I speak of Yemeni bodega owners and Mexican abuelas, Senegalese taxi drivers and Uzbek nurses, Trinidadian line cooks and Ethiopian aunties. Yes, aunties. To every New Yorker in Kensington and Midwood and Hunts Point, know this. This city is your city, and this democracy is yours too. This victory is for all of them. And it's for all of you, the more than 100,000 volunteers who built this campaign into an unstoppable force. Because of you, we will make this city one that working people can love and live in again, with every door knocked, every petition signature earned, and every hard-earned conversation. You eroded the cynicism that has come to define our politics. Now, I know that I have asked much from you over this last year. Time and again, you have answered my calls. But I have one final request. New York City, breathe this moment in. We have held our breath for longer than we know. We have held it in anticipation of defeat. Held it because the air has been knocked out of our lungs too many times to count. Held it because we cannot afford to exhale. Thanks to all those who sacrificed so much, we are breathing in the air of a city that has been reborn. There are many who thought this day would never come, who feared that we would be condemned only to a future of less, with every election consigning us simply to more of the same. And there are others who see politics today as too cruel for the hope of flame to still burn. New York, we have answered those fears. Tonight we have spoken in a clear voice. Hope is alive. Hope is a decision that tens of thousands of New Yorkers made day after day, volunteer shift after volunteer shift, despite attack ad after attack ad. more than 1 million of us stood in our churches, in gymnasiums, in community centers, as we filled in the ledger of democracy. And while we cast our ballots alone, we chose hope together. Hope over tyranny. Hope over big money and small ideas. Hope over despair. We won because New Yorkers allowed themselves to hope that the impossible could be made possible. And we won because we insisted that no longer would politics be something that is done to us. Now it is something that we do. Years from now, may our only regret be that this day took so long to come. In this new age we make for ourselves, we will refuse to allow those who traffic in division and hate to pit us against one another. In this moment of political darkness, New York will be the light. Here we believe in standing up for those we love. Whether you are an immigrant, a member of the trans community, one of the many Black women that Donald Trump has fired from a federal job, a single mom still waiting for the cost of groceries to go down, or anyone else with their back against the wall. Your struggle is ours too. And we will build a city hall that stands steadfast along Jewish New Yorkers and does not waver in the fight against the scourge of anti-Semitism, where the more than 1 million Muslims know that they belong, not just in the 5 boroughs of this city, but in the halls of power. For years, those in City Hall have only helped those who can help them. But on January 1st, we will usher in a government that helps everyone. Now, I know that many have heard our message only through the prism of misinformation. Tens of millions of dollars have been spent to redefine reality and to convince our neighbors that this new age is something that should frighten them. As has so often occurred, the billionaire class has sought to convince those making $30 an hour that their enemies are those earning $20 an hour. They want the people to fight amongst ourselves so that we remain distracted from the work of remaking a long, broken system. We refuse to let them dictate the rules of the game anymore. They can play by the same rules as the rest of us. Together, we will usher in a generation of change. And if we embrace this brave new course, rather than fleeing from it, we can respond to oligarchy and authoritarianism with the strength it fears, not the appeasement it craves. After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one. So Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up. New York will remain a city of immigrants, a city built by immigrants, powered by immigrants, and as of tonight, led by an immigrant. So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us. Let the words we've spoken together, the dreams we've dreamt together, become the agenda we deliver together. New York, this power, it's yours. The city belongs to you. Hallelujah.
Yeah, that's pretty rad. Good job, New York. 2 former New Yorkers here, very, very happy about this.
It's kind of hard for me to hold it together near the end there.
Yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of hope once in a while. Well, Jenny, I really, really, really am trying to hold hope in my heart that we are going to win in the end. This was the tiny flicker. Maybe made me believe that might happen.
You only need a little spark. And, they have fought so hard to stop that tiny spark from bursting into flame. And it is happening. Because this is how you do it. It's not a straight line, but this is how you do it.
So, Jenny, you really think we're going to win in the end?
I really do.
All right. So then we go right back to our planning session.
Yes. Okay, so everyone except Katra is now gathered around their new low-tech war room strategy table.
Yep.
And they're discussing, in case we forgot during the credits, how they will stop the chipped princesses before they hurt anyone else.
Mm-hmm. And we know, we have some positions of them. They lost track of Spinny after Airlandia. Scorpia was, quote, wreaking havoc on a town along the coast and then returned to the Fright Zone.
Yes, and while they are doing this presentation, Adora tries to pass it off to Bo, but he's looking at his pad and seems very distracted. Wonder what that's about.
I don't know.
But so then she eventually gets over to the topic of how they have located Scorpia in the Fright Zone. And Perfuma is very enthusiastic about this development because she thinks Scorpia returning to the Fright Zone means there must be a part of her that remembers it's her home.
Yeah. And Catra immediately retorts with, that pile of junk isn't anyone's home.
Right. She is feeling her feels about the Fright Zone.
Yeah. And like, there's a lot of conversation here about what love and power and home is in this episode. And the idea of going back home hit me really hard here. You know, there's the cliche of you can't go home again. But for a lot of people, it really is true. And you also make your home where you are, the same as the way you make your family where you are. And also, if the place that you grew up was crappy, that's hard for you to understand and consider it to be a home.
Yeah. Not everyone wants to go home again.
Absolutely. So a running question that I have every time I watch this episode, and it's incredibly like bittersweet for me, is what is home? And it's not a question that we can answer. And it's not really a question that we answer in this episode. But it is a question that like is really important to me to think about. What is home for a person who had a hard time growing up? What is home for people that are part of a diaspora?
Yeah, doikait. It's the Yiddish word for here-ness that, you know, is used and embraced by Jewish people in the diaspora who, you know, are not in relationship with Israel, who are happy and proud to be in diaspora. And, you know, it means we make our home and community where we are.
That's something that is very much in line with the theories around She-Ra, too.
Yes. And it also lines up, like I think you're alluding to, with queer tropes and concepts of found family and chosen family.
There's a lot going on here. So yeah, I want to pose to our listeners just to think about what is home. What is home to you? It's a hard one, but I think it's an important one.
Absolutely. Yeah, and now we have the beginning of Perfuma and her struggles throughout this episode. When Catra says what she says, that pile of junk isn't anyone's home, she turns and looks at Catra, and maybe for the first time ever that I can think of, we see her have an actual frowny face. Like, not a look of frustration from trying to work with someone who's having difficulty following directions or something like that, like frustration, but an actual prelude to anger, frowny face. But just for a second.
Yes.
And she tells Catra, while holding the little smiley Scorpia figurine, Scorpia saved me. She stayed behind so the rest of us could escape the enchanted grotto. If anyone can, and like she's now saying this in like a positive way because she's like projecting all her love for Scorpia. If anyone can resist Horde Prime's programming, it's Scorpia. Her heart's too strong. She'd never hurt her friends. And she hugs the little Scorpia doll and conjures a little flower crown for its head. She's just loving on this little Scorpia doll. She's projecting all her love for Scorpia. And then Catra, who is still gay leaning against the wall with her arms crossed, projecting very different energy, says, and you know, like she's just saying her truth. Like she's not projecting necessarily anger at Perfuma. She just says, yeah, she's not great at standing up to authority figures. Trust me.
Yeah.
And you know, they're both having legitimate experiences.
Right, because they both had very separate legitimate experiences with Scorpia. Yeah. And Catra's was being an asshole to her most of their friendship, you know?
And Perfuma starts to get frowny again, but again, it's still just a drop right now, and tells Catra her negative vibes are not appreciated. Catra starts to get frustrated with this hippie bullshit and lays it all out as the only person who's had direct experience with the chip in this way. And she says, look, all that matters is the chip. Going for the back of the neck is how we take out Prime's clones. And the only reason that Adora, you know, saved me or whatever is because the chip got damaged first. That's how we free them. So those are good points, but it is not 100% of the truth. Because in Save the Cat, and I went back and watched it to make 100% sure that I was right about this, Catra's first time coming back to herself, like when her eyes went back to her real eyes from the green, was before the chip was damaged. During the initial conversation in Prime's throne room, when he's telling Adora, oh, I'll give her back to you if you give me She-Ra, Catra's eyes return for a brief moment to herself while Prime has his hand on the back of her neck. And she and Adora look at each other, and Adora's like, and Adora has hope. Again, like Natasha never stops talking to Spinny like she can get through to her during the whole time that she's trying to save her. Just like Adora never stopped talking to Catra like she could save her during the whole time. Just saying, it's not as black and white as Catra is trying to make it right now.
No, and just as with Catra and Adora, we do see Spinny and Natasha. We do see Spinny have that moment as well. So like it's not black and white, and we have kind of a really interesting kind of dichotomy here of Catra kind of being on the planny side with Natasha. Like they're both very much planners,
yes, which is necessary.
Which is absolutely necessary. And they both are absolutely capable of having deep, deep love for the people that they love, but they're not focusing on love being the thing that saves the day.
Right. And they're not feelings first types of people.
They're not.
So this is when, Perfuma finally lets more of her anger out at Catra. And she's finally like, oh, this is the person who fucked up my girlfriend and was mean to her.
And she's so real for this.
Yeah, like she's been bottling this up for a while. And she like advances. She physically advances on Catra. As she says, you think you know how to save Scorpia better than I do? I know all about how you treated her back in the Horde. Things are different now. Scorpia knows the kindness of a true friend. And she shoves the little smiley Scorpia figurine in Catra's face.
Yeah, she gets in Catra's face. Yeah.
Yeah, and Catra is like genuinely taken aback. Like her eyes widen. She looks genuinely unsettled for like a moment before looking away without saying anything.
Right, and Catra has been also processing the way she treated Scorpia since last season, because remember at the end of Boys Night Out, when Catra, had her I thought winning would be different speech and realized that Scorpia wasn't there, that was a huge part of her backslide into the not so great mental place. So Catra knows this is true.
Yes, that's that moment where she her eyes widen and then she looks away without saying anything because she knows she can't clap back.
No, because she knows exactly. She knows it's true, and she knows she fucked up a relationship with a good person.
Right. She feels bad about it, but Perfuma isn't making her feel safe to work through it because Perfuma is pissed off at her. She's not creating it, rightfully so, but she's not creating a safe space. Like, remember how we talked about how in 2 episodes ago, I think it was, how when they were back on Critus, it wasn't just Adora who was holding space for Catra to start to work through her shit. It was Bo and Glimmer also. So without bringing in questions of rightness or wrongness or fairness, it does take a village to create safe space. And we will see by the end of the episode Perfuma doing that. But right now, she is also having feelings.
She's having some very valid feelings. Also, I have this as a gayest moment.
Okay, talk more about why this is a gayest moment.
It's just very new girlfriend confronts old girlfriend vibes. It's just like, you fucked her up and I gotta do all the fixing. And not in like a shitty, I have to fix her kind of way, but in a you fucked her up and I'm here for her.
Like, oh, I know all about you. You're the one you're the ex, the shitty ex who was mean to my girlfriend.
You're the shitty ex who was mean to my girlfriend. Exactly.
Definitely. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Yes. And Milag also goes into a sad kitty pose like he was also just scolded.
Oh, well, because they have the ET bump.
Yes. And then Adora kind of mildly scolds them both to get them back on track.
Yeah. Yeah, she's like, pay attention, you two. Stop fighting over Scorpia. Yeah, we all love Scorpia.
Yeah. Let's get back to the plan. And then Bo wanders outside without saying anything, and Glimmer follows him, asking if he is okay.
Yeah, and uncharacteristically, Bo says that he's fine, but Glimmer picks up immediately and is like, it's about your dad's, isn't it? And Bo is the only one that we know of right now that still has parents. We know that, Glimmer has Micah, but has never actually met Micah.
And we also know what's up with Micah. Like, he's been chipped. He's off doing evil chipped things.
Right. And we know what's up with him, but we don't know what's up with Bo's dads. And it totally makes sense that he's totally freaked out about it.
Right. They're not combat ready.
No, they're dads, which I find as a fantastic subversion of the idea of like dads can take care of themselves. But Bo says, I know they're fine. He's trying to soothe himself, right? It's like the library is well hidden. I know they're fine, but I haven't heard from them. And Glimmer's like, let's just go find them. And top 5 Glimmer moment here. She's like, Adora and the others can handle Scorpia. This is just as important. Let's go find your dads. That's how they kind of start their B-plot journey.
Yes. They agree that they will go on a dad's mission.
A dad mission for dads. Love a dad mission. So, top 5 Glimmer moment.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. So now, enter the Fright Zone.
Yes, we're going to boop back to a place that we have some feelings about. It's the Fright Zone.
Yeah, and it's got an evil upgrade with some Horde Prime tech there.
And our buddies also have an upgrade. Now they can go in cloaked because they have Milog.
I also love the visual dichotomy of Horde Prime's clean, white, angular spires and the Fright Zone's like...
It's rusty and junky. It's like a giant post-apocalyptic junkyard.
Exactly. And then so that dichotomy is very visually, it's very striking.
So we've got Catra, Adora, Natasa, and Perfuma, and Milog on this mission. And they boop in on the outskirts of Fright Zone Town.
Yeah, and Adora brings up it's weird being back. So many memories here.
Yeah, and so she is specifically talking to Catra because Perfuma and Natasa have gone on ahead. So Catra and Adora specifically are having some intimacy here.
Yes, they have a moment where it's like, wow, we're back home.
Yeah, it's weird. They have not been back there together in a fucking long ass time. And so when Adora says it's weird to be back, so many memories, Catra says, sadly, most of them bad. Yeah. And then she looks over at Adora, and just like we've been talking about again in the last few eps, she makes a choice to take a step in a new direction and not just perseverate on the bad stuff and assume that everything between them is going to be bad. Like, she has just said, oh, most of it was bad. She looks over at Adora, and then she smiles, and she sort of perks up. And she's like, hey, I bet I can still beat you to the forge. And she decides that she's going to make this moment a good moment and a happy moment for the two of them.
I love the point of view shot of Catra looking at Adora's face from behind because it's like Catra is still kind of living in the past and Adora is looking forward. And he's really like, okay, well, I can look forward with Adora. I know that we had some bad times, but we can move forward from our past.
And she's also reaching backwards towards one happy memory that she's like, oh, it was mostly bad, but it wasn't all bad. Like, we were just talking about the conflicts around home when you had a shitty childhood. It's like, you don't have to throw away, like, you can still hold on to one good memory. You don't have to say everything was bad in order to acknowledge that you was like, yeah, my childhood was shitty, but I have some good memories.
Sure, yeah, because it's complicated, because life is complicated. Like, the world is complicated.
Right.
Right. And it doesn't negate the good things that bad things happen, and it doesn't negate the bad things that good things happen. And I love that these two found love in a hopeless place, which banger track, by the way.
Exactly. And they can have this sweet moment together.
Yeah. Gayest moment, obviously.
And they're laughing and racing and having fun together just for a moment.
Yeah, they're laughing. The two of them laughing and running in the Fright Zone, we have not seen since the Sword. But it's been at least a few years since these two were able to have joy in a place.
Or anywhere.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, because this is kind of like childlike joy, and we haven't even seen that with the two of them yet at all. Well, that's not true. When Catra jumped on Adora's lap, that was a little bit of joy. That was very like silly, goofy. Hey, that was fun.
But that was like a group setting. This is the first time they've been alone together in an uncomplicated way.
in an uncomplicated way. And this is great. So they run and they go to the forge, and it's trashed, dude. It is thrashed.
Yeah, Adora remarks that it looks a little different than she remembers.
Yeah, and also, once again, home always does look different than you remember.
Especially when your girlfriend has, totally destroyed it due to, a massive physical battle with your overlord before being beamed up to space by your bigger overlord.
Though the look of utter amazement and shock on Adora's face when they walk into like the room that Catra completely destroyed is like, okay, man, I know you had a heart, but damn. And also, the last time that this parallels once again where they're hiding is a time when Catra destroyed a place, and then we're going from there into another place where Catra destroyed, and revealing so many places, like destroyed places of Catra's life, and recontextualizing them right now. Like, we're confronting them in places to heal.
Yeah, Catra doesn't seem that upset about it. She's like, oh yeah, Hordak and I might have had a little disagreement.
Yeah, I fucked it up, And I'm like,
it's not like they need to preserve this place.
No, they don't.
So as they get further in, Perfuma decides the thing to do is to just start wandering around yelling for Scorpia.
Yeah, because nobody here knows what stealth means. As Natasha points out, Perfuma runs for Scorpia, it starts yelling for Scorpia, Catra chases her, Adora chases her, and Natasha's just like,
Yes.
Are you...
Does no one understand what stealth means?
No, they never did, though. They're all terrible at stealth missions.
I mean, Catra's pretty good at it by herself. So they all chase each other, bing, bang, boom, and they end up in this trashed room full of trashed bots. You said it was a forge?
That's what they said. They said it was the forge. Yeah.
That's what they say. Yes, I just wrote trashed room full of trash bots. And it starts to fill up with Scorpia's signature red lightning, which Catra recognizes and is not psyched about it. And then we have kaboom, a big explosion. And then as the smoke clears, there is Chipped Scorpia.
And I have a little smart brain moment here. So I'm going to describe the scene, and then we'll go into the smart brain moment. So first of all, this is terrifying, right? This scene is really scary because we have the lights flickering in a cold feeling, dark, metallic hallway, which feels like a spaceship, right? Like this is a trope that also happens in space horrors a lot.
Definitely.
Where like walking through and the lights are flickering.
Yeah, because there's no windows in the Fright Zone.
There's no windows, right? And then everything is crackling with electricity. All the lights go out. Like they just, boom. We have full darkness. And then we have Dark Scorpia. And with almost all of her, like her facial features, like the shadow is wrapped around her. But specifically, her eyes are in shadow. And she's surrounded by angry red electricity. And then, and here's where my smart brain moment comes in. We have a brief shot of the Kubrick stare.
Ah, yes. I have heard of the Kubrick stare, but I don't know what it is. So break it down for us.
So here's my quick smart brain moment on the Kubrick stare. So when she has the Kubrick stare, she like looks down and lifts her eyes, and they are the green of prime control. But here's the Kubrick stare. So the Kubrick stare is a technique used to portray insane, unstable, or like unreliable characters in film. And it comes from Stanley Kubrick movies where the actor looks down, like is looking down, like their head is down and their eyes and their brows are tilted up in a line.
Right. Like I'm thinking of Jack Nicholson from The Shining.
You'll know it when you see it. And I'm actually going to put some really memorable like pictures of this in our show notes. It was named after the director, Stanley Kubrick, because this was a technique that he often used to show unstable characters. A couple of examples I have is Alex DeLarge in A Clockwork Orange, Jack Torrance in The Shining, and Private Pyle in Full Metal Jacket. You'll know it when you see it. It's also used in a bunch of movies. They have Batman do it a lot.
It's just very intense.
It's very intense. Like you're conveying an intensity that may or may not be stable.
Right.
Anyway, Kubrick stare, mini smart brain moment.
Very cool. Yeah. That was a great nugget.
Thanks.
So as Scorpia stands there giving them the Kubrick stare, they all just kind of stand there staring at each other for like a brief but extended beat. Like they're all just kind of waiting for something to happen. And Natasa asks, why isn't she attacking? And then Perfuma, with full faith in Sunshine, decides that this brief pause definitely means that Scorpia recognizes them and isn't going to hurt them. And she just starts running full speed towards Scorpia.
Which maybe not the best plan, because then we see Scorpia look up and, like I mentioned before, her green eyes are aglow with the Horde Prime control.
Yeah.
Perfuma is deeply convinced that she can get through to Scorpia. And her open heart and unwavering belief in her friends and the protectiveness is Perfuma's best quality. But in this case, it could very well get her killed at this moment.
Yes. Like the difference between her approach to Chipped Scorpia versus Adora and Natasa's approach to their chipped beloveds is that, the other, like Adora and Natasa did continue trying to talk to and get through to Catra and Spinny, but also were being realistic about trying to defend themselves at the same time.
Absolutely. Yes, they were. That's really well put. Thank you, Jenny.
And Perfuma, she's just like, she would have died in that moment if someone hadn't jumped in and pulled her out of the way.
Yeah. And I do love the dichotomy this episode sets up between Perfuma and Natasa. Perfuma, the person who is constantly open-hearted with her friends, and the person who makes sure, and Natasa, the person who makes sure she has a Rolodex of her friends' weaknesses.
Yeah.
And I actually I don't think that either one is bad.
Yeah, I mean, both people are contributing important things to the group. It's like you have a group of people who have all these different strengths, and they're all helping.
Yeah, and Natasa does love her friends.
Of course she does.
And because she knows their weaknesses, she uses them to help her friends.
Right. She's not using her Rolodex of weaknesses to, like, take all her friends down. So Adora knocks Perfuma out of the way just in time to avoid being blasted by Scorpia. And Perfuma still remains in denial. She says she must not be able to tell that it's us, even though she was running right at her. Full speed.
Yep. And Catra is just like, oh, whoa.
Yeah, Catra is very freaked out.
Yeah, also for better and for worse. And I mean, it's not for everyone, it's not great, but this might be the ill wind that we talked about in the last episode. Catra is finally seeing Scorpia at her full power, even though Scorpia's full power has been brought on by corruption.
Yes. She's never seen Scorpia like this before, even though, like, this potential was always there.
And this is also a corruption of the type of quote-unquote full power that Natasa was talking about in the beginning, where Scorpia is unleashing her full power right now, but she doesn't have the fear of hurting people.
Yes, that she would normally have.
Right, because she is completely out of her own control.
Yes, that's a really good point. Because Scorpia is just like Perfuma, that she is very powerful, but normally she would also be afraid of hurting people.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're both incredibly powerful. I mean, Perfuma made a friggin' golem. Like, we know how crazy powerful Perfuma is, and did it in protection of her friends. So, like, yeah, they're both crazy powerful.
Yeah. And also, Scorpia normally has problems with doubting herself. And that's also been taken out of play by Prime's control.
Because there's no self. You can't doubt yourself if there's no self.
So now Scorpia fully picks up this entire metal thing that Catra was hiding behind. I'm not sure what it is. It's like some sort of container, like a giant metal tank. Not a military tank, like a tank for to hold things in.
Yes, a for to hold things in.
Yeah, like a water tank. So it's huge. Scorpia just fully picks it up because Catra is hiding behind it. And so now Catra is looking up at Chipped Scorpia holding, this giant 1-ton metal thing over her head. And Catra's like, hey, buddy, it's me, your old pal. Really sorry about all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
yeah, but obviously she doesn't even get her full apology out because Scorpia blasts her butt all the way across practically the whole Fright Zone. But so now we see that, like, that was the same way she was going to blast Perfuma. So I guess Perfuma wouldn't have died. Like, these electrical blasts that seem fatal, nothing on the show is fatal. but she just blasts her all the way fucking across the room. It's bad. It's not something that you want to have happen to you. So Catra gets blasted way, way far away.
Yeah. And Milog runs after her. Adorable, obviously.
Yes. Milog will always follow Catra. And then Scorpia turns around and throws this giant metal tank thing at the others, and Adora powers up just in time to slice it in half with her She-Ra sword.
Yeah, she just quickly goes for the honor of Grayskull. Like, there's like no transformation sequence. She just goes boom.
Yeah, she can transform super fast when she needs to or wants to.
Right.
And then we have a funny moment where Natasha says, because the last thing that Perfuma said was that she must not be able to tell it's us. So now Natasha says, pretty sure she can tell it's us.
Yeah.
And Perfuma replies, yes, but, I mean, it's Catra. Can we really blame her?
I mean, understandable. People still are pretty pissed at Catra for really good reasons.
Yes. And particularly, the two of them have a complicated, immediate history. So, and Scorpia also, it seems, she has, like, a power that she can blast into the air using her electrical power, like their jet boosters, which is very cool.
Yeah.
It would be cooler if she weren't using it to try to murder her pals. Things are not looking great for our buddies in the Fright Zone, but we're going to leave them there in this action sequence moment. And where are we going now?
We're going to Bo's childhood home. We're going to the library in the forest. And as Bo says, and we all see, something doesn't feel right.
Something was off because Glimmer hauls him into the bushes just in time to avoid a Prime bot that was scanning the area.
Yeah, and Bo is like, taken aback. Like, he didn't expect the Prime bots to even be here by his home.
Right, to have extended this far.
Yeah, and it's like, what happens when the fascists come home?
Right, he was maintaining this sense of security that his dad's home was really well hidden. So they rush inside. Bo is calling out urgently for his dad's, but no one is answering.
Yeah, and the Wait I Get a Dragon She-Ra vase is broken again. Bo rightfully is like kind of freaking out. What if Horde Prime has them? And Glimmer is reassuring, we don't know that. They might have gone somewhere safe. And now he totally freaks out. Like I mentioned before, they're dads. They can't defend themselves. And once again, love you, Etheria, for subverting the patriarchy that dads are always strong. There's no my dad can beat up your dad on Etheria.
Right. There's the sense of like dads are just like sweet parents. And Bo is like spinning out about how he never should have learned archery or left home. And Glimmer, as he's spinning out, notices an adorable note stuck to the wall with an arrow, much like the note that Bo left for Glimmer in the very first episode.
Oh, nice callback. Yeah.
But this one's for Bo, with more adorable fan service doodles of Bo's dad's faces.
And dad jokes.
Yes.
And dad jokes. Hey, Jenny.
Hey, Meph.
What did the first one say when they burned dinner?
It was ruined.
But Glimmer does not speak dad, so she doesn't know.
No, she doesn't get it. He looks equally annoyed and relieved at the same time, which is how I guess you respond when your life is peppered with dad jokes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's normalizing,
yes,
right?
Exactly.
Like, okay,
he's like, oh, I know where they are.
Yep. And then back to the Fright Zone, Catra lands.
Just in time to see the end of Catra's arc of having flown through the air so far.
Yeah, Catra's literal arc, not the figurative arc. She literally arcs through the air. She has launched. She crashes.
Yes. She's just now landing, and Milog is there to give her kitty cuddles. Yeah, but Catra takes it really well. She's like your bro that's like, all right, one punch. You get one punch. I know I was a dick. You get one punch. And takes it really well.
Boston friends.
Boston buddies. Yes. She just says that could have gone better. But she's working on being a better friend. That has to count for something.
It totally does. And I love that she's like having a conversation like I do, where you're just like talking to your cat like a person.
Yes, and Milog agrees. He's like, meow, meow.
Yeah, you do a good job. Meow, meow.
But then Catra's ears perk up, so she hears something something in this area does not sound right.
Catra rightfully makes the observation that Scorpia is not alone.
That's right. She's hearing some different sounds now, not the sounds of Scorpia's electricity power. First, it's just water leaking out of the pipes. First, it's just a little prelude, because there's always a creepy prelude first. Horror movie tropes, yeah.
Exactly. They're really leaning into a lot of the horror movie tropes when they're battling monsters, because their friends are monsters. Their friends have been corrupted and are now monsters. And, like, that's why, like, I love the horror undercurrent of this episode. Like, there really is a strong horror undercurrent. And I know that, you know, you love horror movies and I love weird movies, which are often horror movies. So
Yeah. I mean, having your friends corrupted and be turned into monsters is a horrifying thought.
it's horrifying. It is absolutely horrifying.
Now I ask you,
Yes.
do you think if Catra had fire, she could effectively overtake Mermista and her giant, 10 gallons of water?
No, I don't. I don't. But Mermista rightfully uses Catra's weakness here.
Yes, a giant wave of water comes in with Chipped Mermista, and the only thing that Catra and Milog can do is go invisible and try to escape. So, time for watery battle.
Time for a watery battle. Or really, we have Catra and Milog going invisible and retreating to try to regroup while Mermis is just coming at them.
And even though I love water, I am a big old Pisces, I do have this weird fear of being trapped and drowning because there's no way out, in an enclosed space. Like, they're in an enclosed space. If it fills up with water, it doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are.
No. Oh, God, that's terrifying, Jenny.
So we feel you, Catra. So now we're back with She-Ra, Perfuma, and Natasha, who are doing battle with Scorpia.
And Perfuma is explaining that, her positive energy is being blocked by all of Prime's negative energy.
Yeah, she's focused on vibes.
Right, she's focused on vibes. She really just needs, her chakras flushed. And then we get to one of my absolute favorite lines in the series, delivered perfectly by Genesis Rodriguez. And do you want to deliver it, since you are our resident Perfuma?
Well, She-Ra picks up a whole ass tank to throw at Scorpia.
A tank, not like a water tank, but like a battle tank, a military tank. Yeah.
And Perfuma tells her, drop it, the way you tell your dog to drop your shoe that they're not supposed to be chewing.
Uh-huh.
And, She-Ra does not want to drop it. And then Perfuma says, we don't throw tanks at our friends.
It's a pretty good, word of advice to live by. Those are good words of advice to live by. Yeah.
It is. But this is a fairly extreme situation. So I am our resident Perfuma, but I see both points of view. I have Adora in me as well. I am Perfuma's my sun sign, but Adora's my rising. So I feel them both. She-Ra points out that they have to do something else because what they're currently doing is not working. Look at her. And they look over at Scorpia, who is just continuously throwing, electricity balls at them. It's like she doesn't even recognize us.
Right. And Natasha is really trying to bring Perfuma back to the moments they are in. Not necessarily reality, but the moments they are in. I think I want to be very clear about that, because there is the reality of getting through with love, but they are in a moment where they're getting attacked.
Yes.
And Natasha very rightfully says, enough with your feelings. You could be one of the strongest princesses. And I fucking love this because Perfuma, full on with her power.
Yes, with her whole chest.
With her whole chest, her tapping into her power, saying, I am strong, but I'm not going to hurt my friend.
Yes. Yes, I love her response there too. There's nothing about that that's apologetic. She's not oh, I'm sorry, I'm doing my best. Or she's no, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah, she doesn't doubt her power. She knows her power, and her power is different than Natasha's.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and Perfuma's gonna win in the end.
Absolutely, she fucking is. She walks out from behind that shelter and approaches Scorpia, which She-Ra really wishes that she would stop doing.
Yeah, stressful.
And I have some sub-bullets here that we kind of already went over at the beginning. Just noting that, even though they're kind of upset with how Perfuma is approaching this, that, they approached their loved ones being chipped in somewhat similar ways. Like, they didn't go full pacifist, but, Adora did everything she could to avoid hurting Catra, but she has extensive training in defensive combat. So she had the ability to engage physically in a defensive way so that she could prevent Catra from hurting her in a relatively safe way while still talking to her and reminding her who she is and had to fight the chip. Like, she could take those punches and redirect them without lashing out in a way that she knew was safe. Which is sort of what Perfume is trying to do in her way. And also, I feel like it's pretty easy for Netossa to criticize Perfume's approach when her power is nets. So she can keep throwing nets at Spinny and know she's not going to hurt her.
Right, which is also exactly what you were talking about. Like, it is a more of a defensive power. Like, you can trap your enemy.
Yeah, exactly. And also, but I kind of like, I know the point they're trying to make here with Perfuma, and it's important, but I feel like Perfuma's power is also pretty defensive. She could wrap her up in vines pretty easily. She does eventually, but I feel like she could do it more wholeheartedly. But like, I know the point they're trying to make. But, it's like they are being very black and white with her about like, oh, you can't have all this feeling stuff. It's just about attacking. And it's like, well, you weren't like that when it was your loved one. Like they were always talking to them and trying to get through to them. And they acknowledged that was an important part of the process. Anyway, I just wanted to make those points. The vines wrap all the way up around Scorpia, and then a flower blossoms right at the tip of her claw where it's like she can see it. It's right there in her face. And for a second, it looks like it might have been working, and Perfuma looks super hopeful that she's broken through. Just for 1 second. And we're all hopeful.
We're all hopeful.
But then Chipped Scorpia just zaps it, and She-Ra jumps in and pushes Perfuma out of the way before Scorpia can zap her too. And then they resume battle.
They do resume battle. And this is a really important scene.
Yes.
Because we have them resuming battle.
Scorpia blasts She-Ra back against Netossa's net. And that's when we get the first flicker of the sword glitching, which is a prelude to Adora not being able to hold her She-Ra form. And there's this glitchy sound effect that goes with it.
Yes, because the flicker I have here, very boiled down, but I think our listeners are going to understand it. The flicker, the magic, the love. She's having the doubts.
Yes.
So, she's doubting that love can get through. And when Adora doubts love, it's when she doubts her magic. And when she doubts her magic leaves her. Because the magic of the She-Ra, as we've talked about many times, when she holds it in herself, is the magic of love.
Yes. Yeah, she looks at the sword in that moment that it phases out with this expression of pure panic.
Yeah, I don't blame her. She's in the middle of a fight.
Yeah. It only lasts for a second. Mm-hmm. And then they get up and regroup. Netossa throws a protective net up. But then from behind, someone else joins the party.
Uh-oh. Spinny comes in and does an excellent villain entry. Still trying to save everyone. What a wasted effort. Fuck, that's badass. And Netossa's like, nope, this one's mine.
Yep. And of course, whenever Spinny enters, she's like rising up in the air in her big tornado. So of course, as soon as Spinny enters the room, Netossa's out.
Yep. She's like, nope, we're going. We're taking this one outside. They literally take this one outside. Yeah.
Yeah. They run off to have their final solo wifey battle.
Yep. And this is great. Because we have, after they take it outside, Scorpia picks up a tank, and She-Ra and Adora is like, oh, so she gets to throw tanks at us?
Yeah, she's a little annoyed.
And Jenny, I love a good tank hucking battle.
Yeah, of course.
Whomst among us does not?
They're both very strong. I think they could both take it.
Yeah, so they escape from a tank, and then we escape from tank hucking battle, and we go to the First One's ruins. So they were excavating the ruins, looking for First One's artifacts. They're not archaeologists, right? They're like librarians. And Bo, says it would be the last safe place to go. That's what Bo thinks. Bo thinks that that's why they're doing this. And then they get it. An arrow just comes shooting at their head.
Yeah, really lucky that they didn't accidentally murder their child. Yes, but an arrow comes whizzing out of the darkness, followed by the exuberant squeals of some dads in the wild.
I love dads in the wild. We have Lance. We have George. They're still trying to figure out how to use the bow. We love dads.
Yes, George is still trying to teach Lance how to use it, and he doesn't know how to use it either. Even though he's the one who was a soldier. It doesn't matter. It's cute. But they're very glad that Bo is here because they knew he'd understand.
Nah. But I love the Bo's response of, "You will not distract me with puns right now." It's like, no time for dad jokes. I'm worried about my dads. So we have a line here that says, "Our tracker pad's been on the fritz, and you know we're useless with that kind of thing. We left a note." So my question to you is there an Etherean equivalent of boomers?
That's what I wrote too. I wrote they apologize and explained that they're too boomery to fix their broken phones, which is why they left the adorable note. And obviously all the Apple stores are closed down due to apocalypse.
Right. Yeah, exactly. They can't go to T-Mobile.
And Bo scolds them. He says, "You can't just hang out down here being scholars while the world falls to space fascists."
But they're not. In fact, we don't know what they're looking at yet.
But they want to show us.
But they're really excited to show us. So we have Glimmer and Bo following the dads, and then we go back to the Fright.
They're going to go show us what they found. And while they're doing that, we are going to go back to see Chipped Mermista riding her wave of lovely sore water.
Uh-huh.
Which, because you know how, I think Katra talked about when she got unchipped, how there was, a little part of her that was aware in the back of her mind. So you know that little part of Mermista that's aware is so pissed that she has to go back in the sore water. She hates the sore water. Yeah, that little part of her inside is just constant inner monologue of, not the sore water.
I don't have that written down, but you're totally right. That is absolutely what's going on. It just makes her grumpier and more of a monster.
Yes. Nobody wants this.
Nobody wants this. I don't want this. You don't want this. We just need to submit to Horde Prime. Hiding is useless. Show yourself and kneel before Horde Prime's might. Which Katra's like, fuck that. I've done that before. It didn't work.
Yes, Katra is not about that.
And she's not really winning this fight. She's being more avoidy.
No, she's not winning, but she's also not giving in.
Right. She's fighting, but she's also, she's doing what Katra does. She fights smart. She's fighting smart.
Yes. And now she also has Milog. He comes to her rescue. She climbs on his back, and they flee. Because that is the smart thing to do right now.
Yeah, exactly. So they flee.
And then elsewhere, we have an outdoor wifey fight zine.
Yep, the wives took it outside.
Mm-hmm.
And they are fighting on the roof.
Mm-hmm. This is a very early season Catradora type of fight scene.
I agree. And also it's just every single this will be our final battle fight scene where it's on the roof type of thing. Yes. Very Disney movie, right?
Yeah,
the bad guy falls off you only see the bad guy falling off the ledge and stuff like that. So oh man, it's brutal. And the thing is when they fight, it's brutal.
Yeah, they both do not hold back.
No, they are knockdown drag out because they didn't hold back on anything anyway.
It's true. Natasha gets an energy rope around Spinny. She yells out, "You're not going anywhere!" And then Spinny grabs onto the rope and uses it to fling Natasha over the side of the platform. But when she gets over and looks down over the edge, of course, Natasha has saved herself with a net. And she yells back up, "You can't get rid of me that easily."
So what you're saying is that Spinny tossed Natasha and Natasha fell on a net.
Indeed. Who could have seen that coming?
Who could have seen that coming? Nets. She tosses nets.
So now we've got our three separate groups. We started out with Katra and Mermista, and then we flipped over to Spinny and Natasha, and now we're flipping again to Shira and Perfuma, who are riding a giant vine that Perfuma has conjured to get to safety.
Once again, badass.
And then Perfuma has her first moment of real acceptance and grief about what's been done to Scorpia.
Yeah. And, this idea of we've heard this before, right? He erased her. Mm-hmm. Scorpia was so full of light and kindness, and he stripped that away. He erased her. He erased our friendship.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's fully crying.
And she's fully crying. And now they're in the hacked crystal room, the hacked garnet room.
Yeah, She-Ra puts her arm around Perfuma and comforts her for a moment. But then suddenly the room fills with red light as Scorpia returns with her scary electrical power. And she's floating because now she can hover with her electrical power.
Is there anything this electrical power cannot do?
It cannot make flowers.
It can't make flowers. That's true. That's true. Thank you, Jenny.
So now we see Scorpia smash She-Ra into a wall, and now we see her fully detransform. She-Ra detransforms back into Adora, and Perfuma catches her and shields them both with a big vine.
And can't turn back into She-Ra because Adora says, I don't know, I just lost her. And she lost her because she couldn't save her friend.
Right. Yeah, and she, her hands are shaking, and she's just staring down at her shaky hands. And it's very visceral.
Yeah. It's very visceral.
But she still has all her Force Captain skills.
She does. I thought that too. I'm like, okay, but she's still we've seen her fight without She-Ra before.
Right. She still knows how to strategize and what's the best thing to do in this moment. She's like, all right, there's a door. We need to flee.
I think the doors just keep closing behind them. It's very, I don't know, it's kind of reminded me of Indiana Jones, right? Where all the doors keep falling down, and they're outrunning the doors to not get trapped in between doors.
Yeah. Yeah, usually in Indiana Jones, it would be a bunch of giant rocks.
Right.
But they've had a scene like this before in an earlier season. This, when in No Princess Left Behind, this is what happened when they lost Entrapta. But there was a big fire in each little chamber each time a door went down. But that's not happening here, luckily. Just the doors closing. It's like they're being herded somewhere.
And they are trapped in Hordak's throne room.
Yes, it used to be Hordak's throne room, but now, of course, there's someone else there.
Yep, it's Daddy Prime's. And he's Daddy Priming.
His little sulky bitch pose where he's got his legs crossed and his chin in his hand.
His foppish evil.
Yes. Oh, that's well put. Foppish evil. Yes, and he brings out Scorpia like she's his little pet, and she magically ties them both up with electrical wires.
Before that happens, I want to bring this up because it's pretty funny, is that when they get into the room, Perfuma says anytime She-Ra wants to come back, that would be great. And you see Adora start to go straight up to him, like she's about to walk up those stairs and punch him. And Perfuma grabs her and is like, no. Just pulls her back, no, we're not doing that. Right, which is people have been doing to Perfuma the whole episode, stop running out there. And Perfuma's like, we're not just gonna go punch the evil spaceman. And also, this is the first time that Perfuma meets Horde Prime too. Yeah. And I think Perfuma is one of the only other princesses and members of the rebellion that actually encounters Horde Prime. It's Adora, Catra.
Yeah, you're right.
Perfuma, and then the Chipped Princesses. But Bow and Glimmer never actually encounter the body of Horde Prime.
And Entrapta does also. You mentioned her.
And Entrapta, yes.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she doesn't really talk to him directly, but she is there.
Yep.
Yeah. Adora tells him, you're not getting She-Ra. Prime says he doesn't need She-Ra anymore because my little brother's research has given me everything I need to know. And then we get a quick shot of all of Hordak's clone pods. So these are the ones that he made when he was trying to make new bodies for himself, like Prime, but they all failed. And Prime says the tech of this planet is super outdated. He'll have no problem getting past all of this basic bitch firewalls, taking the weapon for himself with or without She-Ra.
Yep. And then we have the face hold of evil, as we've seen throughout the series.
And he crushes the data crystal in his hand for dramatic effect because he's still a big queen.
Yep. Oh my God, he's such a queen. Yeah, and we then leave this intense scene, and we have some exposition from George and Lance and what they found Jenny, what did they find?
Well, they have unearthed something very cool, which I know this is not important, but I was thinking since their planet is called Etheria and not Earth, they technically should say they've unethereaed an ancient secret.
Ha-cha-cha-cha.
But they've actually unearthed an ancient secret. So this ancient secret is a rebellion from the time of the first ones, fighting against a powerful tyrant just like we are now. So they're very excited to share, what's going to happen when they say the password, Eternia. And when George says the password, our old buddy, Emergency Lighting Lighthope, pops up and says, "Greetings, Administrator. What is your query?"
Emergency Lighting Lighthope. I love it.
Yeah, it's not really Lighthope. She doesn't have a personality at all. It's just like the most basic, stripped down version. It's just going to respond to basic commands. But Bo is not impressed by this. He's like, yeah, we've seen this before. She's not really helpful. But Lance is so excited to tell them that they found something hidden in her programming, and there's a secret password! And this is a wonderful gayest moment. A gayest married people moment where they argue over whose turn it is to say the secret password. And they compliment each other's voices.
Lance gets to say it.
And the secret password is for the honor of Grayskull.
The secret password is for the honor of Grayskull. Lance gets to say it, and then they're surrounded by a planetarium.
And then George is like, oh, your voice is amazing.
Yeah, I really like how the love between queer elders is shown in this episode, too.
Yes.
Good job. Modeling good things for the kids.
Yes. So yes, this awesome holographic planetarium pops up. And they weren't sure what to think when they first found it. They thought it must have been a glitch. Because, of course, an entire holographic planetarium could only be programmed in accidentally.
You know what? They're boomers. That's why they said, secret in their programming. It must be a glitch. And I was like, this is some boomer shit. Okay. We love you.
Yes. But they remembered the message on Bo's tracker pad and how it used coded language based on the star formations of the distant past.
Love it.
And there's another password, and it's even gayer. What is the even gayer password, Meph?
The even gayer password is friend of Mara. And Jenny.
Yes, Meph.
Are you a friend of Mara?
I sure am.
I am also a friend of Mara. And so now we're going to get into one of my absolute favorite, I think this is going to be one of my favorite Smart Brain moments that I've done here, possibly besides Judith Butler.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
We are going to talk about a friend of Dorothy.
Yay.
So, speaking of history, and specifically queer history, we are going to talk about an incredibly important part of 20th century gay history. And this is the phrase, friend of Dorothy.
Hit it.
So, what is this? Friend of Dorothy was a code word, and still is, but not as used anymore, for a gay man. And it's one that gay men use together. So asking somebody, are you a friend of Dorothy, was kind of an underground way to ask if someone was queer. Back in the day, when it was not only socially unacceptable, but illegal to be queer. Where does this term come from? Well, most people say that it comes from Dorothy Gale in The Wizard of Oz, specifically The Wizard of Oz 1939 Wizard of Oz film, because the whole film is queer as fuck. It's really just Judy Garland playing Dorothy Gale, walking around a fantasy world with a whole bunch of gay dudes.
And sequined ruby slippers.
Sequined ruby slippers trying to get home. There's that home thing.
Yeah.
Again. Judy Garland, if you don't know, is one of the biggest gay icons of all time. Such a massive gay icon that her death triggered the Stonewall riots in 1969.
Really?
Yeah, so she died a couple of days before. And if you read oral histories from around the time of Stonewall, they talk about people were going to Stonewall, the bar, to celebrate her life. Everyone was really super bummed, like really depressed, because this is one of their like major icons.
Yeah.
She died. They went. They were already all on edge. The cops raided, and they were like, fuck this. So her death was almost directly responsible for the Stonewall riots. That is how important Judy Garland is and was to the gay community.
Wow, I really did not know that. That's fucking crazy.
Also, my best Judy, which is another queer phrase that's still kind of used as like my best friend, comes from Judy Garland. Why is Judy Garland a gay icon? Well, one, she surrounded herself with gay dudes pretty much most of her life. Like her husband and her friends and all that stuff were gay. And also she was that tragic figure that throughout 20th century queer history, and indeed queer history now, gays love a messy bitch.
Amen. Yeah. Her daughter became a gay icon as well. Liza Minnelli.
Minnelli, also a gay icon, also surrounded herself with gay dudes. Also, I want to get back to The Wizard of Oz. So as I'd mentioned before, The Wizard of Oz, since it came out, has been an incredibly important text for queer history as well.
Fuck yeah.
Other than, Judy Garland, Dorothy Gale, surrounding herself with gay dudes, walking around in a fantasy world trying to find the way to home. There's this very incredibly relevant song, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, where she sings about going to a better place, a place that queer people really attached to. So, I don't think I can, emphasize how important Judy Garland and The Wizard of Oz is to 20th century gay history. And this is very specifically gay male history, though it has been, this started in kind of the gay male in a 20th century, very much American gay culture, but it was embraced by many queer people. Here's a wonderful quote from Time magazine from August 18th, 1967, on how popular Judy Garland was with gay men. So Garland's final engagement at New York's Palace Theater observed, a disproportionate part of her nightly claque seemed to be homosexual. The boys in tight trousers rolled their eyes, tear at their hair, and practically levitated from their seats, particularly when Judy sang Over the Rainbow. Wow. So this is an incredibly important thing.
Yes,
right?
it is.
So Friend of Dorothy comes from that. And I'm just going to read a really quick little thing here that is very, very funny. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, the Naval Investigation Service, or the NIS, the precursor to the modern Naval Criminal Investigation Service, or NCIS, like the TV show, was investigated homosexuality in the Chicago area. Agents discovered that gay men sometimes referred to themselves as Friends of Dorothy. Unaware of the historical meaning of the term, the NIS believed that there actually was a woman named Dorothy at the center of a massive ring of homosexual military personnel. So they launched an enormous and futile hunt for the elusive Dorothy, hoping to find her and convince her to reveal the names of gay service members.
Oh my God. Oh, that's so dumb.
That's so dumb. But, that's what the system tries to do.
That's fantastic.
So that, my friends of Mara, was Friend of Dorothy. It's so, so important to us as queer people. And also, listen to Judy Garland albums, because she's just fan-fucking-tastic.
She sure is. And her life was very tragic.
Her life was very tragic. Saying Judy Garland was a messy bitch is a really flippant way to say, she was abused her whole life.
Yeah, I mean, most, female Hollywood stars who came up in the early part of the 20th century were horribly abused in the industry. She was 16 in The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, and she was made to take amphetamines and smoke cigarettes and not eat to stay thin. The studio doctors gave her drugs to stay awake, drugs to sleep. She was an alcoholic because they literally were just pumping her full of drugs in order to making her perform. Horrible, tragic life, which is something that, once again, a lot of gay people at the time, gay men, and queer people in general, can really not only relate to, but empathize with.
Yeah, of course. And just, the story that she was telling in that movie, feeling isolated and alone in your family and trying to find something that made sense. There's an episode of the League of Their Own TV show reboot that has where they go to see the movie, and then I think in the next episode is when they find Rosie O'Donnell's underground gay bar, and then the gay bar gets busted, and it's incredibly poignant and heartbreaking. And it's all, that's all in the context of what it was like to be queer in America, at least in the 1940s.
So, two gay dads talking about Friend of Mara also did not escape me as well.
Yeah. That was a beautiful tribute to queer history, both in the show and the nugget you just gave us.
Thank you. It's so fucking important.
It really is. It really is. I would love to share a fun little fan comic that included the Friend of Mara that I found really, really fun. This was several years ago. I don't remember the name of the artist. I'm so sorry. But it was something that I just found online. It was a little fan comic of Catra and Adora going to their first Pride, and they're, kind of shy and unsure because it's their first Pride. And they bump into Cora and Asami. And so Adora approaches Cora and she says kind of timidly, "Hey, are you a friend of Mara?" And in the background of her speech bubble, it has the lesbian flag colors around the word Mara. And then Cora says, "No, we're friends of Kiyoshi." And it has the bi flag colors around the word Kiyoshi, but then they just all become buddies and go to Pride together. And it's so, so sweet and cute and adorable.
Adorable. Oh. Do we want to get back to the episode?
Yes, that was a great extended nugget. Friends of Mara, friends of Dorothy, friends of Kiyoshi. We are all of these things.
We're friends. We're just pals.
So who is this new hologram that is greeting the friends of Mara?
So this new hologram, their name is Serenia, who we've never met before.
No.
I'm assuming it's just another gay. I'm just going to go out on a limb here and say this is another gay.
Yeah. I mean, this one doesn't really seem to have a full-on self-awareness. It's just another one of those like programmed holograms. It's like there is one recording. Would you like to hear it?
Yeah. Yep. So we have that. And then we have the voice of, you're right. And then we have the voice of this member of the rebellion, Serenia, who I'm assuming is just another gay because they're on Etheria.
Yeah. And also Lance fills in a little bit of exposition. He says Mara wasn't alone. She was working with a group of rebels going against their first one's leaders.
Which, like, hell yeah.
Yeah. And again, like, you can kill a rebel, but you can't kill a revolution. There's no one person who can carry a movement. And this recording is not Mara. This is just someone else who was part of that group.
Yeah. Some gay Serenia. Yeah. Do you want to read it? I would love for you to read it.
Yes, I would love to read this. And, you can hear, and it's so important that they're hearing this person's voice. They're connecting with this person across time. And you can hear the desperation in her voice. And she says, "This is our last transmission. If anyone's hearing this, you need to listen. There's a fail-safe for the heart of Etheria. It will allow you to destroy the heart and end this for good. It's at the Arxia outpost, but we lost touch with them a week ago. If there's anyone left out there, you need to find it. Mara bought us time, but it's too late for us. This is Rebel Squadron Grayskull. And for the last time, we're signing off."
They said Grayskull.
So now we know. So on the one hand, you could say, oh, this is where Grayskull came from. But I don't think that's where Grayskull came from. I think they called themselves Rebel Squadron Grayskull after the sword.
I'm really glad that we have that literal exact same thing written down because I wrote that too. Like, I was like, oh my God, it comes from this. No, it probably comes from the sword.
Right, because, She-Ra has already existed invoking the sword by saying for the honor of Grayskull. So that had to predate this.
Right, and so they are actually fighting for the honor of Grayskull.
Yes, they are. So they're all immediately having big reactions. Well, of course they are. Like, this is the first big bone they've been thrown.
Yeah. But they have no idea where Arxia is.
Yes, what it is, where it is. But it's still very exciting. Lance says, that's the only thing they don't know. Because the first ones had different names for everything.
But that's fucking huge.
But it's still, this is still a big thing. They just have to get this info to Adora. And the best friend squad will figure it out.
Just as they say, we have to get, this info to Adora. Bo gets a phone call. Or I guess a FaceTime, right?
Yeah, he gets a FaceTime on his iPad from a very wet Catra in need of rescue.
Uh-huh.
She says, the whole thing was a trap.
Yep.
And they need to get out of there, like, now.
Uh-huh. And just a little funny bit of, like, why did I get the water princess?
Yes. I'm sure that would have been her last choice. Although I'm sure she wouldn't have been very happy to be going up against, Robo Scorpia either.
Mm-hmm. Or any sort of fire person, for example. Yes.
So Glimmer poofs out immediately to go be a big damn hero. That's how that goes.
Okay. So Glimmer bamfs out of there. And we go back to Adora and Perfuma tied in wires.
Yes, and my first bullet is that they're still yelling at Prime for being the biggest ball sack in the universe.
He really is a ball sack, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
So then we have Horde Prime driving the point home saying, "It is over, Adora. You will not be able to stop me. As always, your childish fixation on saving your friends has distracted you. It has made you vulnerable, weak." And then we have Perfuma driving it home being like, there is real power in love, joy, and friendship.
Yes, and she has tears in her eyes. Like, she's coming up to her, like, final big moment of power now.
Yep, and Horde Prime says, "What could you possibly know about real power?"
Yes, and then Scorpia's advancing now with her red crackling energy. And Perfuma, again, she's tears in her eyes. She says, friendship isn't a weakness. And, like, her voice is breaking. She says, it's my greatest strength, and it's Scorpia's too.
This reminded me of the end of season 4 of Buffy when they build the Mega Buffy with each of their different parts. And that Mega Buffy says, "You can never hope to grasp the source of our power." And I'm like, yes!
Yes. Oh, that is a great connection.
Yes, because it's togetherness and love and friendship and understanding that we are interconnected and not individuals to fight.
And magic versus tech.
And magic versus tech.
Yes.
Yes.
Fuck yes.
Fuck yes.
100%.
We love Buffy. We really love Buffy here.
Prime looks at Perfuma so disdainfully, and he's got Chipped Scorpia at his side, his little lapdog. He says, "I've heard enough. End this now," to Scorpia. And he walks away. He turns his back because he's so confident that this is over and that he has all the power. And Scorpia approaches Perfuma, and Perfuma, still talking to her, says, "You can break through this. I know you can." And it's interesting. I only noted it on this last watch that Chipped Scorpia never speaks. Spinny and Catra certainly did.
And Mermista.
Yeah, I couldn't remember if Mermista did. Mermista didn't talk as much because she was never confronted with Seahawk. She didn't have Seahawk talking her down the way like Adora and Spinny had their loved ones talking them down.
You're right. Mermista does say some evil monster stuff, but doesn't actually have the like being confronted by the person that she loves conversation yet.
Yeah, but Scorpia never speaks.
No, she doesn't.
Which is more scary in a lot of ways. Yeah, I only noticed it on this last watch. But Scorpia, she's just, Perfuma is really pouring her heart out. And at this point, Scorpia just pauses for a moment. It's a notable pause. As Perfuma is, saying, "You can break through this. I know you can. I believe in you." And then Scorpia slams her powered up claw down into the ground. Like, she could just blast them directly, but she slams her claw down, causing a grand explosion that clouds the air up with smoke. And then Prime has already walked away, but he turns around and be like, oh, what's this now? And when the smoke clears, the prisoners are gone. Gasp, gasp. He's so mad.
He's bullshit.
Yeah, so he's like, ha, 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 ha. And he turns to Scorpia and says, "Submit yourself for inspection," which she does immediately. She's acting like she's still totally submissive to him. But then at the last second, he's like, fuck it. And he doesn't inspect her. And I'm curious why. I don't necessarily have an answer. Why do you think he doesn't inspect her?
I don't know. I think the only thing I could think of that's consistent with his character's moves is that he's just too pissed off to even like focus on the fact that something that he has under his thrall would go against him. I think that's it. I think it's a character thing. I don't know if it's like if it has any sort of motivation within the script other than Prime's a bitch.
Yeah, because he says, no matter, they're insignificant, the plan is underway, and the heart will soon be in my grasp. So
I think maybe when he says submit and she does,
yeah,
like she does kneel,
yeah.
I think that might be enough for him.
Yeah, I keep going back and forth. I can't decide. Part of me thinks what you think, that it's like, well, you know, I told her to kneel and she did, and it's probably fine. Or if there's like a tiny part of him that is worried, but he doesn't want to face it directly because it's like, oh, I'm so close. Could it be that I don't have total control? Because if that's true, then it's too late to do anything about it.
That could be it, because as we have Scorpia kneeling on for submission, she sees the flower and a small smile comes through.
Right, exactly. Exactly. She's looking at the flower. And so if it's true, again, like magic is his weakness. He can't control, and magic equals feelings and love. And so if it's true that his chipped folks aren't totally under his control because the power of love and magic is getting through to them, then he has no recourse. And so what's he going to do about it if he doesn't like the answer he gets when he inspects her?
Right. Yeah, that's a good point.
So I feel like there could be a tiny part of him that doesn't want to face it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. It could really go either way for this.
Or it could just be total overconfidence. Yeah, exactly. So I'm not sure. But regardless, the seed has been planted.
Ha ha ha, plants. Ha 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 ha.
Ha 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 ha. Yes. And now we can zoop back over to our final wifey showdown.
Yep. This will be their final battle.
Yes. And Spinny's chip has dug so far in now that the tendrils are like coming out of her eyes, which is very upsetting.
It's very upsetting. She's being corrupted. And we've seen like organic tech corruption before in the series too. Like when Adora goes berserker with the tech virus.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Also, Spinny looks like she's getting tired.
She does. And she does look tired because she's been fighting.
Yeah.
And like pretty hard. She's been going pretty hard. And Natasha's pure adrenaline right now. So like she's going pretty hard. And Spinny says it's almost over. Let go. Give in to Horde Prime's will. And Natasha does a leg sweep, hits her bad ankle, and gets a net tossed at her.
Yep. And it's a very tight-fitting net, so she has no leverage to break out.
Yep. And, oh, Jenny.
Yes.
Do you want to read this part? Because I cry.
So now Natasha kneels down to hug her wife, and she says, don't you get it, Spinny? I'm never letting you go. Because, Spinny, you're my weakness. And then she dramatically blasts the chip in the back of Spinny's neck, and Spinny passes out. And then Glimmer poofs in and, shares a brief look with Natasha, like, oh, fuck, you finally did it, and poofs them both back away to safety.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful, dramatic moment. And then we go straight with the three of them, back to the Rebel hideout, where Adora is chilling with Soggy, Katra, and Milog.
Yeah, we see that Glimmer was able to pick up everybody else before them.
Yes, yes.
And then we have a wife saying gayest moment, and then we keep crying. We're just crying.
Yeah, so everybody is like regrouping now in the hideout. Adora and Glimmer share a tender huggy moment with Natasha and unconscious Spinny. And then a little bit off to the side, Perfuma is meditating somewhat passive-aggressively, like she has her nose up in the air. She looks a little silently pissed off.
Yeah, I kind of got that, but I also got her just being like having to really put her throat to crown up into the universe.
Yeah, she's trying to regroup. She's trying to come back to center.
Yeah, because it's not easy to come back to center, especially after that, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think she might just be working extra hard there.
Yeah. And this is when she and Catra are going to have their moment. Catra walks up behind her, looking unguarded for a moment, like she's not sure what she's going to say or how she's going to approach. And she lands on casual snark, which is, comfortable for her. She says, "So, I heard Scorpia dropped a beam on you." Which is, not mean. It's pretty casual for Catra. And Perfuma turns to her smiling. And she says, "Scorpia missed. She missed on purpose." Catra says, "How do you know?" And they're both being pretty open right now.
They are.
And Perfuma says, "I know because I believe in Scorpia." And Catra says, "I hope you're right."
Yeah, because Perfuma trusts in the magic and trusts in the love.
And Catra sits down in a box next to Perfuma, looking, pretty introspective and thoughtful, and says, "Scorpia is really lucky to have a friend like you."
Yeah.
And then at this point, Perfuma perks up and smiles, like her whole demeanor towards Catra has changed in this moment. And she stands up and puts her hands just gently on Catra's shoulders and says, "It's hard keeping your heart open. It makes you vulnerable, but it doesn't make you weak. And I have to believe it's worth it." And then she looks from Catra very deliberately over to Adora. And then Catra looks over to Adora, getting the hint. And then Perfuma giggles and hugs her because now they are bonded for life as therapy pals.
Also, obviously, Jenny gayest moment, right? Like, Perfuma's like, "Okay, look, we all know and it's okay."
Yes, exactly. Like, it's, your feels are not embarrassing or weak or any bad things. They're actually great.
They're beautiful. And we support you.
Yes, and it's all good. And then Perfuma offers to take her through some guided meditations to begin to unblock her abandonment issues and negativity, which Catra graciously declines because, one thing at a time, girl.
Yeah. And I feel like after this is all over, they'll have a little bit of they'll have some mushroom tea and they'll be in a nice soft room, There'll be maybe some Reiki will be involved.
Yeah. It's going to go at a pace that is slower than what Perfuma would like and maybe a little bit faster than what Catra would like.
Yeah, agreed. I think that's really fair.
But, they're smiling at each other now, and it's all good.
Yeah.
So now is the time that I just want to ask you if you feel any differently than how you felt when we had the conversation in Launch, where you were being really hard on Perfuma about the fact that she got mad at Entrapta when they were having trouble working together. And you were specifically more mad at her than anyone else because you said she forgave Catra in this episode, which we hadn't gotten to yet. And Catra had done so many worse things than anything Entrapta had ever done.
Right.
And I felt that was really unfair. I said, she did forgive her eventually, but not without ever having been mad. And people have the right to have their feelings. We had a lot of conversations. So I'm just curious if you feel differently now than how you felt then.
Oh, I absolutely do. Especially after rewatching this episode and seeing everything and seeing that Catra had to actually do actual penance. In fact, this moment that we just saw where Catra says, Scorpia is really lucky to have a friend like you. Catra had to move past her own shit. And then
yes, exactly.
And it's a different conflict. And also Perfuma was just like, yeah, she's right to be pissed. So yeah, I agree. I was wrong.
Yes. And, thank you. Thank you. And for me, it wasn't about me wanting you to admit that you were wrong. It was just about, I feel protective of Perfuma the same way you feel protective of Entrapta. And I also love Entrapta. But it was a very different situation. In that situation, there was frustration that they were just struggling to work together effectively. And also it was a life and death situation. And I felt like, it was fair for Perfuma to just say, you don't think about how your actions affect other people. She didn't call Entrapta any names. She wasn't yelling at her. She wasn't saying, "You're stupid. What's wrong with you?"
No, she was just very frustrated. And
she was just expressing her frustrations in a way that I felt was reasonable. And, as someone also who often people think of me as someone who's good with feelings and good with talking about the feelings. And I don't usually get mad. But so on the rare occasions when I do, it's like people aren't expecting it. So it's like, oh, you don't have the right to feel that way because you usually don't. And it feels like it's a lot to live up to sometimes to be the one who's good with feelings.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's also your power, and it's also Perfuma's power. And that's also the thing that we hit over and over again in this episode, is that like actually the feelings are our power. Not just like, yes, they say it's like the loving and the friendship, but also the feelings and being able to acknowledge feelings in general.
But it doesn't mean you're not ever allowed to get mad.
No, of course not. You can get mad at the people you love. And also you can get mad at your ex-girlfriend's ex-girlfriend or your girlfriend's ex-girlfriend. Also, you can get mad at your girlfriend's ex-girlfriend.
But it is important to be aware and to be able to delineate and discuss the difference between like healthy expressions of anger and unhealthy expressions of anger.
Right. And that's also something that like is a difficult conversation to have, and a lot of people don't have it because it's either you just get angry and it's not a great unhealthy, it's not a great healthy way to do it, or you never get angry, and that's also not healthy. So showing Perfuma have like anger and being like really like throughout this episode, there's a lot of anger from her because people are questioning her values the whole time.
Right. And as you said, she forgives Catra when she sees Catra doing the work.
Exactly.
That's the meaningful point where she's like, all right, I see that you're working to be different and to change and to be healthy. And I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And that's important. So, yeah. All right, rock on.
Cool. I'm glad we're on the same page.
Everybody's allowed to have their feelings.
Absolutely. That's kind of the message of this, is that everybody's allowed to have their feelings.
Yeah. But how you communicate them matters. How you express them matters. Yeah. All right, rock on.
Speaking of communicating their feelings.
Yes. And communicating in general.
We have a fantastic little exposition dump here where we learn that Adora learns that there is a failsafe for the heart of Etheria and has a lot of pride for her, like, progenitor, right?
Yes, Adora is stoked about this failsafe, even though we have no idea what or where it is.
Ah, but somebody knows.
Yes, somebody who is very conveniently arriving with their comings and their goings, even though they have not communicated any of their comings or goings.
Uh-huh, yep, and so we have our aunties coming back. And I think this is actually the first time that Catra has seen Shadow Weaver in a very long time.
Yes.
And that is going to be real important for the next episode.
Yeah. We're not going to see the reactions shots right now, but that obviously, yes, that's going to be important.
A scowl is what we see now, but...
Yes, we have Shadow Weaver saying, we have to go to Mysticor.
What?
Bum.
I guess that makes sense, right?
It doesn't not make sense.
It doesn't not make sense. And that's one of the important things about this show is sometimes things don't not make sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's where Micah is. That's where all the most powerful sorcerers are.
That's where all of them, the sorcery magic is, the formalized magic is. So it makes sense. I don't know. We'll bring that up the next time, but yeah.
It does make sense. So buckle down, kiddies.
Buckle down. We're in the final run here.
Yeah. Now the end game has truly begun.
The end game has truly begun. And so as we hurtle forward towards the end game, I have one question to ask you. Jenny.
Yes, Meph.
What did we learn today?
I think we learned that the failsafe is in Mysticor. And we have to go back. We have to go back to Mysticor and see our evil daddy.
Oh, fuck. We have to go back to Mysticor and see our evil daddy. Oh, fuck.
Yes. We also learned that all of our feelings are valid, and what's important is how you communicate them. We also learned that we're friends of Dorothy and Mara and Kiyoshi.
It's true.
So tell those bitches we said hi.
Tell those bitches we said hi. Well, folks, if you liked what you heard and you want to be a friend of Mara, You can like and follow us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast fix. You can also find us on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and YouTube. And please give us all of the like and comments and follow us and love at HeyAdoraCast. Or you can email us the location of the failsafe at heyadoracast@gmail.com.
And you can also find all those things at our website, heyadora.gay.
Yeah, including a link to our Patreon.
Yes, our super fun Patreon where all the coolest kids hang out and chat.
So come hang out with us at our Patreon. You hang out at our Discord chat. We also have a Patreon live watches, video hangouts, all sorts of fun stuff.
Yes, and kitty pics.
You can find the link to this week's Spotify playlist, Return to the Fright Zone, in our show notes or at heyadora.gay.
Yes, you always find all of our shit at heyadora.gay.
And remember, queer joy is radical.
And queer love saves the universe. Somewhere over the rainbow. That's where all the queer love is.